Love finances, the other F word, and want to support the show? Become a patron by going to patreon.com/FTOFW. You'll get special features, a shout out on the air, and early releases. Or if you prefer, pick up some merchandise at financestheotherfword.com.
As fantastic a CFP as Mel O is, as wonderful an attorney as I am, and as good as Stormy is at whatever it is he does, please do note that anything said in our podcasts are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, Stormy Andrews, founder of Yokel Local Marketing, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey guys, welcome to Finances, the Other F Word. And today we're going to talk about the selling of the Palms Casino here in Vegas. And I know that sounds a little boring and you're not really sure how that ties into money and music, but actually it ties into it a lot. And it's going to touch on a lot of things that we've talked about before. But before that, we were actually watching the Shock the Monkey video by Peter Gabriel, which I Googled. And it came out in 1982. And in there's a part where he is getting attacked by little people. And Stormy, for those of you who don't know, has this thing for little adult people.
Yeah, make that clear.
Yeah.
And not all little adult people.
Strippers.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yes. Have you actually seen a little adult person stripper, Stormy?
No, but let me tell you where I got it from.
Okay.
Please
I was driving down the 15. Which is a freeway here in Las Vegas. And there's the Hustler Club near the Raider Stadium.
Right.
And they had a digital marquee sign. And I'm driving the freeway and it says Tuesday night, midget strippers. And I just started cracking up laughing that was on the marquee. And once I saw that on the marquee, I've just talked about going to midget stripper night ever since. So now everyone thinks I have this thing, but it's just me repeating what I saw on the marquee because I thought, being a marketer, I thought that was very, very interesting, and I thought it was funny. Just like when I saw Ozark, if you've seen Ozark, the very first episode of Ozark, when he walks into the strip club, there's like a 9-month pregnant stripper dancing on a pole, and I thought that was funny. When people put things together, I think these things in life. When I saw the 9-month pregnant stripper, I was also to the stage of like, hey, I want to go see the pregnant strippers. Just like the midget strippers, I have no interest in seeing that, or the pregnant stripper. I just thought it was just funny. One of those things in life that I can laugh at.
Yeah, people's belly buttons get weird when they're pregnant. Like all of my friends who've gotten pregnant. Did your belly button turn into an Audi, Zoe?
No, but I never really got I wish I had. I wasn't like one of these. You know how some people, like from the back, you can't tell they're pregnant, and then from the front, they just have this perfect ball of pregnancy. I just look fucking fat. That's all. I just look like a fatty, and that's it. So it was nothing cute or look at me. It was just fat cow. So
my belly button stayed the same.
Well, that's good.
How about your balls? How are your balls?
It was cold one day and they kind of went inside.
And they've stayed up there ever since.
They're like, we're going to hang out in here. I've been trying to get them to come back outside ever since.
Into his stomach. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started on this after talking about little people strippers and all of the other stuff. Oh, but before we get started, because I didn't mention this last time until the very end of the episode, Kilpop Radio, KILPOP.com. They also have an app out and it is programmed by Carlota, and Finances, the Other F Word is proud and happy to announce that we will be part of their Sunday programming, and they are global, of course, and we will be airing, our podcast will be airing 8 a.m. on Sundays. So check it out. She programs, it's predominantly rock music, but she'll put rap in there as well. But it's more of a kind of an attitude versus these are the rules of people who listen to rock music. And so you really need to check it out. It's a good fucking time and it's a great station. So Zoe and I and Marianne sat around and listened to our first premiere episode on there. And it was kind of a good group little thing that we did. Of course, no little person strippers yet, but my fingers are crossed for Stormy that will happen soon. So let's talk a little bit about what's been going.
Before we get going, I think I have some
Yes.
some people to welcome to the family?
Absolutely.
Countries to
Wow.
the
You know what,
family?
Mel?
Shit,
You're rude.
I know.
You're just rude. I'm out.
forgot.
I'm
Nobody
hanging up my
listens to
headphones
me.
right now because I can't deal with this shit anymore.
I know. I'm sorry. You know, we totally do have 2 new countries. Who are they, Zoe?
I think we have 3. In fact, that's my notes say 3.
Yes.
But, I mean, I might be making some shit up and don't hold me to it, please.
Does
Over to it,
Stormania
over
come
to
on
it.
board?
Not yet. What is this your new bride? She's not arrived yet? No? Okay, well, never mind. Well, my list says welcome to Turkey,
Yes,
Peru,
Yes.
and Poland.
that is
Yes,
correct.
that is correct.
I'm on the
Is that-
ball. Is that correct, Stormy?
Yeah, I was gonna
That
say
is correct. That matches my list.
Excellent. As long as your notes are correct and align with my notes and Mel's notes, then we're all good.
We're
So,
good.
Totally.
We're good.
Totally. And, you know, we have a really good global following. You know,
do,
it's
indeed.
it's crazy. Yeah. So the people outside of the US love us, or just maybe Stormy, but either way. So yes, welcome. And it was so funny because I texted that to Zoe earlier this week and I was like, hey, make sure you don't forget to welcome these people. And then I just fucking blew right past it. Thank you for having my back on that, Zoe. So any more other announcements that I forgot before we
Yes.
move on?
Are all of our patrons out of the United States?
All of our patrons are in the United States currently. Yes.
We should do like something special when we get our first international patron
Ooh, what
Yeah,
should
like
we do?
I'll go visit them. How about that? Depending
on
on
their
where they
dime.
are.
As a matter of fact, yeah. If
On their
if
dime?
you're first international patron, on your dime, we can come out and visit you.
Yes.
Well, except
Oh.
except Zoe and Mel, but they will, except for Zoe and Mel, all 3 of us will come out and visit you. What do you think
That's
about that?
great. I think that's really good, especially if it's depending on where it is. Yeah, let's
Yeah, depending where it's at.
depending
Yeah.
on where it's at, let's do that. Yeah.
So something we can add to this is that when this episode airs, guess what number it will be?
69.
Ooh, no.
Oh.
I have no other funny numbers, so
Okay. Okay, it'll be episode 299.
Oh,
99. That's what I was going to say.
I thought you meant
299.
number of country. I knew episodes. Jeez.
No, yeah, number of so the reason why that's important, why is that important, Stormy? Can you remember?
There's 299 countries.
No, think about it.
Okay, let me think about it. 299. Oh yeah, 300. Remember?
Correct.
That's right.
Correct.
300 was the number. So what do you think? How did we do?
300 is a magic number, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what
It's a
you're
magic
saying,
number as
but,
long as you subtract Mel's dancing.
I know
to
that
the
was, I got
300.
really white all of a sudden. I apologize to
Yes.
YouTube viewers that,
Yeah.
that got a little white. So yes, when we first started this podcast, we could not fathom that we would get to 300 episodes, first of all.
Mm-mm.
And Stormy was like, okay. And we were talking about doing the podcast. We're like, all right, so when do we hang this thing up? Like if it's a fucking horrible failure, when do we hang this stuff up and call it quits? And Stormy's like, no. We got to go to at least 300 episodes. And I remember at the time going, fuck, that's a lot of work. And it is, but I'm like, that's a lot of, like, I couldn't even imagine. And this episode, when it airs, will be episode 299. And so we have to make a big to-do on our 300th episode.
Like the movie 300.
Yeah. I was just going to
Ooh.
say the same thing. Look at us.
Dude, then
We
let's
should
do
dress
that.
up like
Spartans.
that. Yes.
Dude, they were so hot. Every guy that came on the screen, I was like, I'd fuck him. Yep, I'd fuck him too. Yes, I'd fuck him in front of my mother. Absolutely, totally would do that. That's how you know you're really hot. But no, I wouldn't force my mother to see that. That would be awful. I might edit that out, or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see how I feel like when I do it.
Yeah, because your mom listens to it so much,
Exactly.
right?
My mother, I told her about the radio station, and she was like, "Oh, not shabby." I was like, all right, that was fucking anticlimactic. Thanks, Mom. All right, so let's get into this. So we're never gonna pass it. So for those of you who don't know Las Vegas, there's a couple things you need to know. We have the strip casino resorts, and then we have the local casinos. And down in Las Vegas, bowling balls, bowling alleys, and movies, they're all in the casinos. There's not freestanding different places. You have to go to a casino, and those are primarily
no. There are freestanding casinos and freestanding. I don't know about bowling alleys.
Name me a freestanding bowling alley here.
I say
down
movie
by the
theaters.
link.
Down by the. But it's still in the strip area. But there's freestanding movie theaters.
Brooklyn Bowl, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a couple freestanding movie theaters, but most of
them are inside casinos. I'll give you that.
I know you guys are ready to most of them are in casinos.
That's right. That's right.
And so the big local casino chain here is the Station Casinos, and there's a couple power families that run in Las Vegas. One of them is the Herps brothers, who has Terrible Herps gas stations plus casinos, plus they do dirt racing of some kind. The Maloof family, who's going to come in here in a minute because they were the original creators of the Palms. And then of course there's the Fertitta Brothers, who inherited their father's casino empire, and they are billionaires because of it. And so
well, they found it, but then they also bought the UFC for $1 million, sold it for a crap load. That was a pretty good move.
Yeah, my notes, we're going to cover that. So way to foreshadow. Good job, Stormy. I like that.
Yes, and there's the Andrews family, who, let's not forget about them.
Who's the Andrews family?
Me.
Oh, good God.
$50 to share amongst all of us.
Fucking moving on.
Yeah.
with his $500 of something or whatever. So in the beginning, let's talk about now. Did you guys ever go to Palms when it first opened?
Yeah, vaguely.
Palms, yeah, vaguely. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. So when it first opened, there was it was very much a C and B scene thing. This was when the fishtail underwear sticking out of the pants was very popular. And so there was a lot of glitzy type pants with these big whale tails sticking up and all this kind of stuff that was in the Circle Bar at the Palms. But what always cracked me up is right when you walk in the Palms, it's this like high end, it was C and B scene place, but there's a food court right when you come in the main entrance, which I always just thought was hilarious. So the Palms opened. Classy, yes. And so for those of you who don't understand the location of the Palms, you have the Strip, and then you have local casinos that are pretty much off the Strip. Well, the Palms is was supposed to be like a local casino, but it was designed to still get people who wanted to do the Vegas experience but didn't want to stay on the Strip. It's about 1.5 miles up Flamingo Road off of the Strip. So it opened in November 15th of 2001, and it was originally owned by the Maloof family. Dennis Rodman, Pamela Anderson, April Hilton. Who the fuck is April Hilton, by the way?
I think April Hilton. Is she one of the Hiltons?
One of the sisters, right?
I think
she must be one of the Hiltons.
April Hilton is probably one of the Hiltons.
Yes,
yeah, that's a good
her
guess.
Being one of the Hiltons.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Paris is younger, not so well known.
No. But she was important enough for them to name. And of course, Samuel L. Jackson, which I think is fantastic, attended. They were very popular for the Ghost Bar. And the Maloof family at the time owned the Fiesta Rancho, which for those of you who aren't from Vegas, you're not going to know what the fuck I'm talking about. And they sold it so that they could go ahead and they could buy the Palms. And the Palms opened to massive amounts of fanfare. And the Cine Vegas Film Festival originated at Bally's in 1999. It moved to the Palms, and it was there every year until 2009. In 2002, MTV brought The Real World to the casino, and that was a fucking shit show and a half. And the cast reunited after that for 7 mini-series episodes 5 years later in 2007. In 2005, the Fantasy Tower opened, which cost $600 million in 2005. And it was a 2-story suite with a basketball court. It had suites with basketball courts, locker rooms, and fantasy suites, including the Barbie suite. Yeah, and the Kingpin suite, which featured a bowling lane. And I don't know what would be in the Barbie suite. I'm assuming it would be a lot of pink.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe your bed was a Barbie convertible or whatever that she had, convertible Corvette. And so they built the tower next door, and then they named it. They built a 520-foot condominium tower. No, well, not 520 foot, because that wouldn't be very big, but they named it Palms Place, and it was more for people to actually live and it had its own pool and its own valet, and that opened in February of 2008. So the Palms Casino is the place to be. We have 2009, Katy Perry filmed a video of her song Waking Up in Vegas at the Palms. 2009, Mariah Carey performed at the Pearl Theater, which is a smaller theater. And in March 2011, MTV Spring Break was filmed there with Snoop Dogg, Pitbull, and Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa.
Khalifa.
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa. But look at Stormy, like he knows. He's like, yeah, Khalifa.
Oh, yeah.
Blah, blah. Yeah, so good on you. So with Wiz Khalifa, and then the Palms also hosted the NHL Awards, and unfortunately also hosted a Jersey Shore spinoff.
Oh dear.
And the Pauly D Project, who apparently was the guy that had the
Oh, I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah, Pauly D.
Yeah. Yeah, the Heat Miser hairdo that decided he was going to become a DJ. And one of my friends had the hots for him, and he just looks like
oh no, he's ugh.
So despite all of this is what I find hilarious, is that they started having financial trouble in 2010, and they couldn't make their loan payments. And they cited the reason for that was because of the Great Recession. Well, the Great Recession ended as far as the market goes in 2009. So depending on when this was in 2010, I'm not really sure if they're saying that they had started lagging it, or maybe they had used up their capital, but they said that the Maloof family said it was the Great Recession that caused them being able to not make their loan payments. So in 2016, Station Casinos, which is owned by the Fertitta Brothers, came in and they purchased from the Maloof family the Palms Casino for $312.5 million. So start keeping track of these, because this is really, really important as far as the dollar amounts that have went into the Palms Casino. Mm-hmm. They started on renovations and improvement, and they were trying to capitalize on the fact, like I said, of people who wanted to come to Vegas and do the Vegas thing, but they didn't want to stay on the strip. And the problem is that if you're not on the strip, you have limited foot traffic. And so Vegas has kind of, way before COVID, way before 2008, Vegas has started going through a metamorphosis. So what it used to be is when you walk through the casino floor, there was table games, there were slot machines everywhere, and bars everywhere. And then what slowly started happening is that gambling became less and less and less a part of Vegas, and clubs started coming online. And so we talked about in episode number 40, we re-aired it.
It's me doing a club, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, wait, can I do more white girl dancing? Hey,
there you go. That's mine.
You could do the Vogue, but fuck Madonna.
Yeah, fuck Madonna.
Yeah, so we talked about on Las Vegas Hustles. You were there, Stormy. And we talked about the price of bottle service down on the strip. And we talked about the way that they work the VIP lines and basically the way that they fuck people. But anyway, so what we started seeing is we started seeing high-end, like super high-end retail coming into the space. We started seeing it be very expensive for people to drink and eat. And a lot of the little bars in the casinos are privately owned. So you could go get, kettle soda water, my favorite, at one bar, and it's like $20, and then you could go to another bar and it's like 15. So it depends. And what we've started seeing is we started seeing less and less gaming concentration and more of these super high-end clubs. There was the Rain, there was XS, there was a whole bunch of these different clubs coming online. And so in 2016, we were very much still in the throes of this, and I was actually still hitting the clubs at that time. And in June 2018, renovations are continuing. And so the Palms start this whole big campaign of From Dust to Gold. And it was very expensive. And the GM of the Palms was quoted as saying, as we got into it deeper, we said, man, this place has great bones. Let's go all in. Let's go big with this. And we knew we couldn't just bring the Palms back with one or two new venues. So the complete overhaul was really necessary to bring the place back. That's what's the most exciting, to be a part of it all. Now, as part of the renovations that were proposed, they wanted a casino floor expansion. They wanted new restaurants featuring chefs Bobby Flay and Michael Simon. I don't know any of those people. I've heard of Bobby Flay, but I don't know. I don't watch the Food Channel. And the casino replaced its iconic sign with a new digital version, which is still there right now. And the GM, the John Gray guy, the GM, stated when the renovations are done, they're going to have the largest day club in Las Vegas. And so now what we start seeing that the Palms, that the Fertitta Brothers and Station Casinos, who has made their money off of local casino chains, is now going into the mega resort thing with the Palms, even though the Palms is technically off the strip. And in January 2019, Chaos, the night and day club, signs Cardi B, who was 26 at the time, and signed her to a residency. And part of her residency was that they had a 360-degree DJ booth, and she was going to be performing at the day club and at the nightclub. And they never actually disclosed how much it was that Cardi B was promised to be paid. And with that, G-Eazy, Cascade, and Skrillex, and Above and Beyond were also supposed to be getting their stints at Chaos. And this was a big fucking deal. They had a huge side thing on the casino that said Chaos, and it was the hardest thing, or the hottest thing to open as far as clubs. Now, they didn't say how much Cardi B or any of these other people were promised, but they did say that Cardi B's payment was included in this $690 million renovation cost. So they bought it for $312 million. They put $690 million in renovation costs into it. And they had lined up all of these other residencies. And so for those of you who know anything about Vegas, and Zoe talks about it all the time on the music news, and she's posted articles on it, we have residencies where people come through all the time, including Britney who?
It's Britney, bitch.
Yes, including Britney Spears, who had a big one down. Where was she at? She was at the, I can see it in my face. It's the old, Anyway, okay, so Britney had a residency here for a long time. We've covered that on other podcasts. And so around this time and kind of in the subsequent years, this is just so you guys understand how big residencies are in Vegas. Drake had secured a 10-show deal for $10 million at XS Nightclub. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever been to XS Nightclub. I don't even know what it looks like now. But the deal is that it was not that impressive inside. Did you guys ever go there?
No.
It was like blue and kind of neon, and it was the hottest thing. And they had a whole bunch of people waiting to get in, and we talked about that on Las Vegas Hustle. And the point was that it was complete bullshit. It's not a great club, I'll be honest with you. I hope they never want to sponsor us because I just talked shit about them. And in 2017, Lady Gaga announced her residency at the MGM Park Theater, and she was reportedly grossing $1 million per appearance.
Wow.
Jennifer Lopez had a 2-year residency at Access Planet Hollywood. Planet Hollywood is where Britney was. And she grossed,
Britney, bitch.
Yes, she grossed $97.5 million. And then other residencies were Bruno Mars, DJ Khaled, Snoop Dogg, and Mariah Carey. Now, in April 2019, Chaos comes online. Renovations are done. Big fanfare. Cardi B comes in, starts doing her thing. And at the same time, they have a grand reopening in April 2019 to show everybody their $690 million in renovations. And the key to all of this was a 73,000 square foot day/nightclub, which was Chaos. And part of the renovation, they showed a new casino floor, new restaurants, they updated their rooms, they updated their theaters, and they, like I said, they built the day/nightclub. So it was designed to do both. And in the span of 6 months, they signed DJ Marshmello to an unprecedented 2-year residency for $60 million.
No way.
This is the thing that's fucking crazy. I don't get the whole DJ. I don't get the DJ. I don't care if it's Deadmau5. I don't care if it's Marshmello. I don't fucking understand how they can pull in this amount of money mixing shit. They're not creating anything. I mean, they're pulling in contracts that professional athletes pull in. And I don't understand. We talked about on our last podcast episode, we interviewed Kevin Knight from Damage Inc. And he basically talked about, hey, we're liquor salesmen. Like, we're there to get people in to enjoy music and get drunk. And that's basically what we're trying to do. And so I'm looking at this going, okay, a $60 million contract for a 2-year residency at Chaos. How in the fuck do you possibly justify how you're going to cover that overhead? Well, that comes back to bite them, and we'll see that here in 1 second. And so $60 million for a 2-year residency. And they were rumored to be paying him as much as $600,000 for each performance weekend. Now, this was huge for the Strip, and we have a lot of resident DJs that are on the Strip right now. I don't know if they're going to be sticking around, but all of a sudden, resident DJs are just like Cirque du Soleil. Even though Cirque du Soleil, I think, didn't they just declare bankruptcy?
Yeah,
because of COVID, right? That was what they said.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, DJ residencies popped up all over the Strip, just like the Cirque du Soleil shows used to be. So in August 2019, the Fertitta Brothers, Lorenzo and Frank, they upped their position in Red Rock Resorts. And so what happened is that they purchased the Palms Casino for $312 million. They sunk $690 million into it, and their stock started to slump, because it is a publicly traded company, and people are looking at the renovations and they're seeing these big ticket artists come through, and they're saying, how the fuck are you going to justify doing that? And so what we saw Lorenzo and Frank, the Fertitta Brothers, double down. And so for 12 months, the stock slumped. And so they turned around, and in August of 2019, they did a filing with the Securities Exchange Commission, because they have to disclose this stuff. And they bought 2,248,700 shares of the holding company between August 8th and August 16th of 2019, adding that to their existing position of shares of 45,428,003 shares. And then when the shares declined, the original shares they had, over the 2 million shares, had declined because that 12-month period they were slumping. They had already lost $575 million in the stocks before they doubled down and bought more. So they were trying to very much say, hey, this is great. This, Chaos thing is wonderful. This is totally making sense. We're totally going to get a return on our investment. And just to even show you, we're going to put more money down. But in hindsight, did they do that to try to give the investors, belief that it was going to go, or did they actually do it because it had dropped so far? It was a hell of a fucking buy, and they could actually buy up more of the shares. So when I read stuff like this and I go, okay, they're saying, we're committed to this, and this is why we're buying these more shares. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, I think you just saw a hell of a deal, because in August 2018, the price per share was $32.09. And by August of 2019, it had dropped to $19.14, or about a 40% decline, when they picked up those additional shares. And so basically they were sticking to it, and they were saying, nope, our decision to put $690 million and renovate this, off strip Palms Casino Resort, we're totally doing it. It's totally worth it. And when they increased their shares and moved them to 41.2% ownership of the entire company, and that made them the majority owner of Station Casinos, which has 21 properties here and around the Las Vegas area, which again is specifically more for locals. And the flagship, I think, arguably out of the local casinos here, would be Red Rock, maybe Green Valley, which is also a Station Casino.
Right. But I'd say Red Rock is their flagship.
Yeah.
And
Green Valley was at one point until they built Red Rock.
Yeah. And Green Valley is surprisingly small.
Is it?
Yeah.
I go in there. I haven't really paid attention, but I didn't see it as being surprisingly small.
Yeah, I went in there, and I was just kind of shocked at how small it was. Yeah, I know you've
That's
heard
what all the ladies say.
I know.
They're like, man, I'm shocked.
I'm shocked. I thought it would be bigger. No?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anyway, so they pick up these additional shares, and they move them to 41% holders in it. And then, but they offset their losses with outside investments. And Forbes at the time still estimated that they each were still worth $1.9 billion.
Slackers.
Not shabby.
Exactly. And now, to Stormy's point, the two Fertitta brothers had bought the UFC for $2 million in 2001, and they sold it in 2016 for $4 billion.
Ooh, that was smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 2001, they bought fledgling UFC, and they turned around in 2016 and they sold that motherfucker for $4 billion. Now, John Lewis came on our podcast in episode 202, season 4, and there's actually brand new news out on him.
Yep.
So do you know about it, Zoe? Do you want to tell us about it? Or?
No, you can. I just saw it on LinkedIn, but
yeah.
Very recently. But yeah, that's good.
So yeah, because I was the one who posted it.
That would be why.
Yeah. And so John Lewis, so first of all, we recommend that you go back. Great guy. He's done everything. He's directed, he's acted, he's a trainer, he's been a UFC fighter, he has albums out, he's a talent all around, and he is buddies with Stormy. And like I said, episode 202, season 4. Well, now what they have coming online is they have a like a UFC, not UFC, an MMA called Galactic Combat. And there is a company that's partnered up with Stormy's fucking bro, his bromance, Elon Musk. And they are trying to make products for space, and they are engineering a reality TV show where 40 MMA fighters from around the globe train and prepare to do battle without gravity. Now, and on that tip, Elon Musk.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. Elon Musk SpaceX actually did, for the first time just a couple days ago, they put a rocket in space, and when they brought it down, it had only a very minimal fire that was able to be extinguished very, very quickly. And so the deal is that we have SpaceX is moving closer to the dream of putting the ordinary man in space. But of course, the ordinary man is going to see that shit for another 10 to 15 years before it gets to any price point that anybody can do it besides the 1%. But anyway, so that's really cool for John. And I wish him well. I wish him well for that, because that's going to be very interesting. Because how do you, like, just the logistics of, kicking, but if you go to punch somebody, don't you move slower with no gravity? I mean, if you launch yourself off of something, you'd go faster, right? So if you launch yourself out with your fist out to punch somebody, it seems like they would see it coming faster, or maybe they wouldn't because there's no resistance. What are your thoughts on that, Stormy?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because there is no resistance, right? But it's, I don't know. So let me ask you a question, because I did not see this on LinkedIn. I got to see what's up. And the story, when you go back to the John Lewis connection, he's the one that introduced the Fertittas to, he's the one who got them involved in MMA. So what is the thing that John's doing with Elon Musk? It's called,
so he's working with a company that is trying to make products for space, and it's associated with Elon Musk's SpaceX.
Okay.
And so I think Space 11 is the actual company who's making the products, but it's associated with
John's working with Space 11.
According to the article, correct. And it's a reality television show called Galactic Combat. And that's where they're sending them all up to train and do battle without gravity. And so that just came out. And if you were a connection of mine with the podcast on LinkedIn, you would have seen the post, Stormy, you fuck.
Oh, I need to check. And then John, he just sent me an email day before yesterday. He didn't mention nothing about this either. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
He didn't mention that he's going to be fighting in space.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be fighting. He'd be training, I'm sure.
Nah, I don't know. I think he could still fight.
He can't take me. You can tell him I said that.
Okay. Well,
okay, we will.
Wait, no, that was a joke. This isn't recorded, is it?
It is recorded.
Yeah.
And you should probably go to LinkedIn right now, fucker, and be a connection of the show. Jesus Christ, you are so. You're so. Is it insufferable, Zoe?
Insufferable. That's
okay,
a good word. Yes.
Woo! Yes, insufferable bitches. I fucking use vocabulary like a boss right there.
It's not just a show. It's a new sport competition in outer space.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I picture like Transformers in space, like fighting. I know, just crazy. I don't know. So Galactic Combat. So John Lewis, check that out. So all of this stuff is going on. We have the Palms Casino came online to much fanfare. Everybody was there. It was a big whoop-de-doo. People were doing residencies there, and it was the hottest place to be. And then what ended up happening is that we saw that because of the Great Recession, even though the Great Recession had probably been called at that point, but I'm sure it took a little bit for crowds to come back, just as we are experiencing here with COVID. We see that in November 19, Palms closed Chaos. 7 months later, so they opened Chaos, Cardi B, Marshmello, all these people lined up, $690 million in renovations. And in November 2019, they closed Chaos. So all these people had went there to work, and they were just like, hey, here's your 60-day notice, get the fuck out. And they closed it. And it was a big whoop to do here because everybody was very aware about the spending that the Fertitta Brothers were putting into this. And the Palms was quoted as saying that the nightclub patrons, quote, did not have spendable money, and we didn't see the crossover into the casino. Well, if it cost fucking $100+ to get in, we talked about this on Las Vegas Hustles. If it costs $100+ fucking dollars to get in a club, and then the fucking drinks are $20+, how much motherfucking money do you expect these people to have? You know, back in the day when the mob ran Vegas, shit was cheap. Rooms are cheap. Fucking meals are cheap. Of course, you're going to drop some more on the games. So I'm not really sure how they expected people to spend all of that money. I mean, bottle service on the strip during New Year's, again, we talked about in Las Vegas Hustles, like $20,000 a bottle, a bottle of Ketel One. Listen to me, you guys, a bottle of Ketel One at 20 fucking grand. It's ludicrous. So 7 months later, they closed Chaos, and they dropped Marshmello and Cardi B. And they dropped them, of course, obviously, because Chaos closed, but they cited that they had challenging entertainment fees. Now, this seems like a huge misstep for the Fertitta Brothers, because these guys are smart, right? And they buy it, which was losing money. Then or at least the Maloof couldn't keep it open. Then they dump a whole bunch of money into it. And then what they start doing is they start taking in late September, they release, in September 19, they released Marshmello from his contract. And then they had to pay a whole bunch of fucking money for that. They released Cardi B. They had to pay a whole bunch of fucking money for that. And then what happened is that they start to shut everything down, and they say, okay, we're going to turn around and we're going to use this as like private space. So if somebody wants to come rent it out, 73,000 square feet, you guys, how big is that motherfucking convention? 73,000 square feet. They're going to start, they're going to have, they quoted as saying something to the effect of better use of the space that's more in line with, you know, blah, blah, XYZ. But the point is that after this happened, they made huge changes to their executive team. But the thing that I don't understand is, just looking at numbers, how did you do a return on investment on that after you purchased it? You have $690 million into the renovation. I'm assuming maybe that $60 million to Marshmello was included in the $690 million in renovation like Cardi B's fee was, but I'm not really sure. And so Red Rock Resorts, that owns the Palms Casino, after they closed Chaos, they reported a $26.8 million net loss just in the third quarter of that year. And these numbers are crazy, you guys. And like I said, the Fertittas are smart fucking people. We just talked about how they sold UFC for a fuck ton of money. So Frank Fertitta was on an investor call, and he was talking about the closing of Chaos. And he said, it, quote, doesn't appear that the market has grown enough for the amount of supply, he said, and, quote, the cost of entertainment is excessively high, and we just made the decision to focus where the fish are, end quote. Why would you make that decision after? Like, I mean, anybody, I know you guys didn't do nightclubs and stuff, but I used to do nightclub scene pretty heavy, and it was getting obviously saturated. So I'm not really sure where they were getting their intel that opening up a 73,000 square foot club would have been something that made sense. So in regards to canceling of the Marshmello contract, for those of you who don't know, he's a DJ who plays horrible music, and he wears a bucket on his head, right, that has
like a face.
Yeah, like a stupid face on it. Then we have Dead Mouse, who's also very popular down here, who looks like Mickey Mouse hat, but he has, you know, X's on the eyes. And then there's that other guy who was at MGM, who's the Asian dude. and he's big. I don't know if he's going to be back or not, but if you've driven down the strip, you saw his picture everywhere. And so a source told Rolling Stones that the reason why they canceled Marshmello's contract is because there was an internal investigation into the executive management team, which makes me think, was there kickbacks in there? And they realized that the club was not bringing in nearly enough money to cover employee salaries, much less the overhead costs in addition to Marshmello's fees. And many of the employees were promised bonuses, but weren't able to be paid those bonuses because so much of the money was going to cover the DJ fees, which is Marshmello's fees, even though they didn't name him, but he was the DJ that they signed. So the day club and the nightclub, nightclub space starts turning into private meeting space, which there's no way you're going to recoup your cost off that. If you do, it's going to take forever, and special events. And they let their staff go with a 60-day notice. And again, Frank Fertitta says that, the nightclub people didn't venture into the casino to gamble. And I don't understand how I guess I'm still confused on how they were surprised by that. So of course, investors, as they've been watching all this, they're like, how are you guys going to try to get your money back from $1 billion investment with a casino with no foot traffic? But we saw that the Fertittas, for a short time, their revenues actually did come up by an increase of 13% due to the higher revenues that the Palm generated. But the deal is that the investors were like, fuck that. We don't give a shit if your revenues went out. We're out of this bitch. And they started selling, and it lost around 8%. Now, the reason why this is important, I'm telling you guys this, is because if you watch TikTok or any other social media platform for 3 seconds, you're going to hear people on there who are telling you, oh, this happened, so go do this. Or that happened, so now you need to do that. But if you've been in the industry for any amount of time and you know what the fuck you're talking about, you understand that it's never a cut and dry answer. In this example that we just used, their revenues actually went up because of the Palms, but the perception is that they had made bad investment decisions, and the stock starts plummeting. And in May 2020, the Fertittas, of course, this is, March of 2020, COVID hits, everything gets closed down, and the Fertittas come in and they go, hey, look, we're not going to sell the Palms. Don't worry about it. We're going to keep it. And then people go, yay. And then we see a small bump in the stock because they're positive on the fact that the Palms is going to eventually reopen. But what we saw in May of 2020, as we started seeing May and June, is that liquor starts coming out of the Palms Casino. So they do a mass exodus. They start pulling out. I mean, these are assets. And I mean, there's lots and lots and lots of liquors in casinos. Too much for Zoe and I, unfortunately.
Yeah, anymore.
Yeah, for real. And they cited it was because of insurance worries, because they didn't want to have liquor on the property, but they start moving liquor out. So in December 2020, the airport here, McCarran Airport here in Las Vegas, saw a 60% drop in travelers when compared to December of 2019. So in February 2021, there starts being rumors that the Palms is never going to reopen. The Palms did not open. It's February 2021. And they basically sent out termination letters to a whole bunch of people. We have the Culinary Union, who's very big and active down here in Vegas, get pissed off, and they start, saying, hey, you can't do that. You can't send them termination letters and then expect them to reapply for the jobs, because remember, the Fertitta Brothers had came out and said, oh, no, we're not selling, and again, this was the bump in the stock. And so this is where stock, how stock is perceived becomes a very big part, because I don't know if in May of 2020, the Fertitta Brothers didn't have any intentions of selling it, but they were quoted on saying later that because of COVID, that's why they decided to sell. Where in May of 2020, you were closed. You could see the trajectory of COVID. I mean, the numbers started increasing and things like that. So I don't necessarily think that I believe that, but this is where when you have the Fed chair come out and say something, or you have a CEO come out and say something, that those perceptions can move the market in general, if it's the Fed, or it can move a stock price. And the thing is that people will come on and will try to give you finite advice when they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And anybody who's been doing it for a long time doesn't do that shit, because we've seen it go multiple ways all the time. So we have a whole bunch of people unwilling to travel. And, Frank Fertitta comes out and he's like, hey, I think, we're orientated towards the revival of Vegas. So in March 2021, only 9 casinos in the Las Vegas Valley remained closed, and half of them were station casinos. Now, May 2021, obviously that's this month, the Palms is sold for $650 million. So they bought it for 312. They put 690 million into it. Plus they took some losses in there, and then they sold it for $650 million to San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, a California tribe, but they sold it for cash. And that's important because a lot of times when you have deals, mergers and acquisitions of this size going down, a lot of them aren't done in cash. A lot of them are actually done with, cash and a mixture of stock. And they said, hey, we got the fucking cash. $650 million went to the Fertitta Brothers. They still lost their ass on it. But of course, they overall still have a good portfolio, obviously, like going back to the UFC and other holdings that they had. So this is the biggest purchase by a Native American tribe to come into the, U.S. gaming sector, and specifically in Las Vegas. And so they run a little casino 70 miles outside of East LA, and they've been doing that for 35 years. One of the things that I really want to dig into at some point in the future is we've talked about how on reservations, the casinos, I can't remember if it's on reservations or for the members of the tribe, they are tax exempt for a lot of things. Now, when they own a property that's not on the reservation, but they own it as a tribal council, I want to know if they get any type of tax benefits. And that's something I don't know. I'm not a CPA, but that's something I'm going to research, because as soon as that happened, I started thinking about it going, okay, $65 million in cash. What does that look like from a tax standpoint for the Indian tribe? And they are saying, we're going to focus more on our bread and butter clients, our gamblers. And so I'm assuming that all that fancy shit is going to be coming out of the Palms, even though they are getting the benefit of all of that for, sure. And for now, they are planning on keeping the Palms name. And like I said, but they're changing the people that they're targeting, and they're hoping to get people from LA over to the Palms, which if any of you guys have ever tried to drive from California to Vegas on a weekend, a Friday night, it takes you about 11 hours to get into Vegas because there's really only one freeway, and it's fucking ridiculous. Now, there's other tribes that own big hotels that I was not aware of, and I think I had heard about it once. So Hard Rock International is owned by the Florida Seminole tribe.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. So they acquired the rights to use the Hard Rock name last year. And of course, we had the Hard Rock Casino here, which then closed, and now it's opened up as, Virgin Hotel and Casino, which I still haven't been in as of yet.
Me neither.
Yeah. And this is one thing that I thought was admirable. So Lorenzo Fertitta, the vice chairman of Red Rock Resorts and the board of directors, he said that, this part I didn't think was admirable. He said, hey, if it wasn't for COVID, we never were going to sell the Palms, which I think is fucking bullshit. Complete bullshit. You cannot tell me these people are not smart enough to see what's going on and then adding in this renovation. But this is what I thought was admirable, because he went on to further say, quote, if we are being self-critical about what maybe didn't go exactly as planned at the Palms, I think there was too much focus on nightlife and day life, part of the business. He said, we entered the market at a time when it is hyper competitive, and there's probably too many players in the market at the time. The cost of entertainment and the market was not growing, and we missed that. And so Lorenzo Fertitta said the company decided to fail fast and move on once it realized that chaos was going bust. And we were actually starting to get some traction on the casino side and other parts of the business, but then COVID hit, and they said that's when they basically threw in the towel. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this, and the last thing I'll say, the San Manuel Casino board Indian tribe are looking at, the Palms ran with about 1,300 employees, and they said that they're looking at running on about 1,300 employees back. So hopefully those people who got termination papers from the Palms will be coming back. And of course, now we had Virgin Hotel and Casino open in March which I don't think nobody in this podcast has been to yet.
Nope. And
we have Resorts World Las Vegas, which is getting ready to open here. When is that opening? Like within the month, isn't it? It's real close, right?
I think was it June? Didn't we talk about that?
We might have.
Yeah, I can't
It's
remember
coming up.
now. But yeah.
It's coming up real quick. And that's a big deal because it's the first casino that's opened on the Strip in over 10 years. And of course, we just had another adults only casino that I really want to go to, Circa.
And that's awesome. I've been there a few times.
Oh, you have?
Dude, is it
The
great?
bar is killer. I love it.
Dude, what does it look like inside? I got Zoe.
They did a great job. Their sports book, they've done a phenomenal job. Then their dealers rotate as go-go dancers on the weekends. So they have a go-go dancer station. So they rotate between the dealers to the go-go dancers. I went to the bar. They have a bar at the very top called Legacy or Legends Club. I forget the name, but you make reservations. A beautiful bar. They've got an adult swimming pool. I mean, it's the part that sucks is it's downtown, which means you got to pay for parking.
Right.
But I still go because I think they did a phenomenal job.
And it's a bitch to get around downtown. I mean, downtown Vegas is not designed like a normal big city downtown area. It's kind of just a clusterfuck all the way around there. And when I heard about Circa, I was just like, wait, you mean I could go to a casino and there's not a motherfucker in front of me pushing a stroller with kids in it? That's fucking fantastic.
Right.
Especially when you're drunk and you're having a good time and, you don't want to be, especially Zoe and I's mouth, be cursing and you look over and there's like a 7-year-old staring at you,
Which I have to tell you my story about that at the end.
Oh yeah. Well, we're actually at the end right now. So I totally want to hear about that. By the way, what a great setup I did for you, not even knowing it. So you're welcome.
I know. My youngest son is turning 16 on Sunday. And so he's learning to drive. This is related to having a potty mouth in front of children. Obviously, my boys are used to my filthy mouth, but he's learning to drive. And so he was driving. I was assisting, which is like trying to, not throw up in my mouth. And I was dropping him off at Albertsons. So we're pulling up to Albertsons. He stops so that I can get out and drive and he can get out. And there's this dude behind me that just starts flailing his arms around and gesticulating because Ethan's pulled over and not particularly well. And he's not happy about it. Now, this guy could pull around me, but he's chosen to just stop behind me, right up my ass and just start screaming at me. Doesn't go over well with me. So I'm just Ethan's driving. And I have a big sticker on the back that says, please be patient, student driver, right? Because I started swearing a lot in the car because I'm getting annoyed at people because he's 16. I mean, not even 16 yet. Give him a break. So he can see that it's a boy and whatever. So I get out, Ethan gets out. I give him a dirty look and get back into the car and I start to drive. This guy's right up my ass. And then Ethan realizes he's forgotten his face mask. So he comes up to me and he starts waving, Mum, I need my mask. So I stop again. This guy behind me, right up my ass, starts honking his horn. Again, he could go around me. He could do anything he wants, but no, he chooses to get right up my ass and honk his horn. So I roll down my window and give Ethan his mask. But I have got myself into a real frenzy at this point. A lather? I've got myself all in a lather. So I just lean out the window, give him the bird and say, fuck you, really loud. And I didn't know, but I guess you could guess that there's children and mothers around. And as Ethan's walking into Albertsons, apparently this woman with children says to him, that's a nice mouth your mother's got there. And yes, I drive off and I said, what you should have said is, fuck you to him. And then that would have been a nice little family ending to it. But that's just my little story about having a potty mouth in front of children for you. And that just happened last week.
Well, was that you who gave me the bird and said that to me?
Oh my God. I was 2 steps away from jumping onto the bonnet of his car and just, I don't know what possessed me. It was just, well, I do know what possessed me. I'm an angry person, but yeah. I
don't think you're angry, Zoe. I think you're just British.
Yes. I think it all just spilled out. We keep it very in. We keep it in, and then sometimes it comes out. And so I get what you're saying in terms of children, once you're drinking or not drinking and swearing a lot. It's nice to not have to censor yourself. Not that I do, but if I did. So there's my story. You can cut it out if you want.
No, I'm going to keep it in. And then I'm going to end with this. Holding on in quiet desperation is the English way. It's a Pink Floyd lyric. Do you got any lyrics you want to add on here before we get out of here, Stormy?
Papa was a rolling stone.
Wherever he laid his hat was his home.
And when he died,
all
the rest.
he left us was alone. There you go.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you for that. And on that note, everyone, make sure you follow, dear God, make sure you follow Finances the Other F Word on social media. Make sure you check us out on Kilpop. Clubhouse app is getting ready finally to go live on Android. So we have a ton of people who want to come on the quiz show, and all of them have Androids. But for those of you who are interested, you can hit us up at 775-537-4352 to become a contestant, where you get good prizes, but not real good prizes. Follow us on social media at Finances the Other F Word. And of course, Lily Lou Mittens on Instagram and Finances. Thank you, Zoe. Finance the Other F Word, Another F Word to Love. Our book is on Amazon, Target, Barnes and Noble, and Walmart. And Stormy's book, World's Best Buyer Persona System. And with that, I think we're out this bitch.
Peace.
Cheerio.
Thanks for listening. If you like us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.